All right, this is our next episode of True Wrestling Fan Discussions, continuing our WCW Clash of the Champions review series. Gonna be Clash of the Champions 16, The Fall Brawl. I'm your host, Mike.
I'm Frank. Let's get into it. September 5th, 1991, Augusta, Georgia. Roughly 2,800 on hand for this one. Whoa, big crowd. Not a bad draw on TBS either, 3.7, down from the last one they
Yeah,
had a few months ago.
a lot's happened since then, obviously, because Luger had won that number one contender match. He was supposed to go on to face Flair in a steel cage match,
Yep.
and Flair gets fired and goes to WWF, takes the belt with him, title's vacant, and then Luger fights Barry Windham. I think Luger turns heel, I think, before the match. Fights Windham. He's the new champion, and then they eventually made a new belt.
Yep. And now he's got his entourage of Mr. Hughes and
Hmm.
Harley Race.
Yeah.
And he's got a new challenger on the horizon. They would have the press conference to sign the contract for the match at Halloween Havoc. And not to mention Flair's gone, but Scott Steiner's injured.
Yeah.
Steiner brothers had to relinquish the tag team titles into a tournament. Rick Steiner would be in the main event
Hmm.
tonight, trying to get back the tag team titles with Bill Kazmaier against the Enforcers. We'll see how that turned out. But yeah, a lot has happened. A lot of departures. Hey,
Sid's gone.
Brian Pillman's back from his
Yeah, he's
loser
reinstated.
leaves WCW from three
He's
months
reinstated.
ago. So let's go ahead and kick it off. Jim Ross and Tony Schiavone doing the commentary. Of course, you got Paulie Dangerously and Missy Hyatt doing the backstage stuff. Well, Paulie more than Missy. Missy Hyatt can't catch a break. They opened up the night with a 20-man over-the-top rope battle royal. Participants were Terrence Taylor, Ranger Ross, Big Josh, Thomas Rich, Sergeant Buddy Lee Parker from your favorite tag team State Patrol. You got Z-Man, the young Pistol Tracy, Bobby Eaton, PN News, Stunning Steve Austin, Barry Windham, Dustin Rhodes, One Man Gang, El Gigante, and Oz. So you got a lot of big guys in there.
Hmm.
Uh, Battle Royal was all right. Like Jr. and Tony said on this match, normally they do the Battle Royal later on because a lot of these guys would be competing tonight. All the members of the WCW top 10 would be in competition this evening. Final four in this came down. It was a real interesting final four. You had El Gigante, Dustin Rhodes, One Man Gang, and Oz.
Hmm.
And even though the final three realistic was One Man Gang, Oz, and El Gigante, realistically, even though El Gigante eliminated both of them at the same time, the last one to go out was Oz. So technically, Kevin Nash was in there with El
Yeah.
Gigante. Yeah. But El Gigante wins the Battle Royal,
Yep.
which is going to mean absolutely nothing for him
Pretty
because there's
much.
not going to be a title shot or anything in the
Yeah.
future for this man. But it looks nice on the resume, so congratulations to that young man. Next match on the card was a semifinal match in the light heavyweight championship tournament. You had Brian Williams. Okay, where did I get that from? Flying Brian Pillman versus Bad Street, aka Brad Armstrong,
Yep.
under the mask.
Bad Street. Yeah.
This was a really bad tournament that they had put
Yeah, it's
together
kind of
because
weak.
a lot of these guys don't even look like
Yeah.
cruiserweights. I mean, the other match in the semifinals is
Yeah.
Richard Morton and Mike Graham.
Yeah. Oh Lord Jesus. Um.
Yeah,
Yeah, the cruiserweight division is not what it eventually becomes at this point.
exactly. And of course, they welcome back Flying Brian Pillman to the WCW. Like I said, their career-ending matches or loser leaves town. Just they're not what they used to be. So, and this match to me was bad mainly because of this whole Bad Street gimmick. I didn't understand it. I don't know why Brad Armstrong is deciding to do this and align himself with the Freebirds.
I don't know.
It's whatever. Pillman hits a crossbody drop from the top rope and gets the pin. So Brian Pillman has moved on to the finals. The finals will be at Halloween Havoc, and they'll crown a new light heavyweight champion. Next segment was the WCW Top 10 with Lex Luger running the division. Here you go. At number 10, you have Bobby Eaton. Number 9, the Z-Man. Number 8, the Diamond Stud, who unfortunately got squashed tonight. Number 7, One Man Gang. 6, you got the natural Dustin Rhodes. At number 5, Stunning Steve Austin, the television champion. Number 4, El Gigante. At number 3, you got Barry Windham. Number 2, Ron Simmons. And number 1 is Sting. And later on, they will have a press conference to announce the title match for Halloween Havoc, which will be Lex Luger and Ron Simmons.
Mm-hmm.
That was actually a pretty decent. I really like that
That was a
match.
good match.
Even this press conference, I'll get to it later. The press conference, how they did it wasn't bad too. I like the fact that Eric Bischoff was sitting in on it, and I'm like, "What are you doing there?"
Well, that's right. Yeah, Bischoff is here.
Yep,
Yeah.
ain't saying much considering you look at the card, but okay.
Oh, but I'm saying this is the this is early Eric
This is
Bischoff.
this is the start of the Bischoff era.
Mm-hmm.
Our next match on the card was for the WCW United States Championship. Sting defending the title against Johnny B. Bad. Hey, remember when on Nitro when Johnny B. Bad, they had that whole thing where he missed. He had a flat tire and missed his U.S. title opportunity against Sting. Well, here you go. Just go back in the past. You had it now. Whatever. Anyway, they showed on a previous show Sting opening a package that was delivered on the rampway, and out pops Abdullah the Butcher. Oh, Lord. And he doesn't know who sent it. Apparently, I think they said something from your past. I was like, oh, please don't start this again. Don't do this again. The Black Scorpion stunk up the show in 1990. Please, let's not be redoing that. But during the match, Sting went to give Bad an Irish whip from the corner to corner, and Bad had just fallen down. It kind of looked like it was botched because then Sting's just standing there going, "Oh shit, what do I do?" So I don't know if Johnny B. Bad tripped or something happened, but obviously he didn't make that, so Sting had to improvise, and then he got the move off. During the match, another wrapped box was delivered down along the rampway. Johnny B. Bad naturally thought it was for him. Teddy Long's trying to tell him it's not for you. So Johnny B. Bad's getting all distracted here when he's got the champion right where he wants him. After both men looked at it, Sting just rolls him up in a small package and gets the victory. I thought, considering how really well done this match was between the two, the ending was cheesy. And Sting keeps the United States title. I'm fine with that, but just the way it ended with this whole box, taking away from it, because this was really a really good match. And then, of course, after the match, Cactus Jack comes storming out of the box, runs into Teddy Long, knocks him down, goes in and attacks Sting. So now we know who pretty much the mastermind is behind this, really. And then it took Eaton, Big Josh, and Dustin Rhodes to come down for Cactus Jack to escape and leave the ring. So, and then, of course, we have to, you can call up and find out Sting's condition. We don't know. I'm like, oh my God, it's just a beatdown. Relax. He's not going anywhere. Although the Sting Cactus Jack feud was definitely unique, and I liked it. So our next match on the card was the other semifinal match in the light heavyweight title tournament. It's Mike Graham versus Richard Morton from the York Foundation. I'm sorry, but the only claim to fame for Mike Graham is his infamous saying about Jeff Jarrett. They did mention everything about how his father was a promoter and all this stuff. But of course, that's flashbacks from the Dark Side of the Ring episode that they did on the family, on the Graham dynasty. And I thought this was another match that stunk up the tournament. Richard Morton really, to me, doesn't look like a light heavyweight. Neither does Mike Graham. And so
I'm always going to thank Mike Graham for saying in regards to Jeff Jarrett, he broke 6,000 guitars, never drew a dime. So rest in peace, Mike Graham.
Oh wait, I'm sorry. We usually do the other half, but we don't have a Jeff Jarrett match here. So yes, rest in peace. It's a shame. Now during the match, Graham had Morton rolled up for the pin. Morton eventually kicked out. He kicked him into the corner. His head hit the turnbuckle, and Morton rolled him up for the pin, and Richard Morton gets the victory, and he will go on to Halloween Havoc to face Flying Brian Pillman. So Our next segment on here was Eric Bischoff interviewed Bill Kazmaier, who, interesting note, was he's in the Guinness Book of World Records as being the world's strongest man, at least at this moment in time. He was trying to set another record this evening by bending a 3/4 inch solid steel rod around his neck. And he was getting successful and almost done with it when out of nowhere, the enforcers, Arn Anderson and Larry Zbyszko, come out into the ring and attack Kazmaier with a 45-pound weight plate into the ribs. And this would play heavily into the main event tonight in the tag team tournament finals.
They were
down, but it was too late. They escaped the ring.
The reason why they did this is they were trying to the guy he couldn't wrestle. He was very green. So
no, he didn't.
They were trying to protect him. So that's why he got injured, and that's why in the main event he doesn't do much. It's just to kind of mask, the
It was also confusing that was the main event out of some of the matches you had on this card.
Well, I guess because it was for the tag title.
Tag titles. But again, if you look at the card, nothing else here pretty much could be a main event. I mean, Sting and Johnny B. maybe.
Yeah, I could see that.
And of course, they're not going to close out with the press conference. So, our next match on the card is the Patriots, Firebreaker Chip and Todd Champion. Don't even dress alike, but okay, whatever. Versus the Fabulous Freebirds. Now, this was one of two matches they are going to have during this week. This one was the non-title match, and then on TBS Saturday night, the Fabulous Freebirds would put the tag titles on the United States tag titles on the line against them. I would have done it in reverse. I would have had the tag title match tonight. At least you have something to shoot for, and it makes the match just a little bit more interesting, considering the fact that this is a snooze fest, at least for me.
Pretty much.
So, because naturally, Chip went for the pin on Garvin. The ref is distracted by Todd Champion. Hayes with an elbow drop on Chip, and Garvin gets the pin. And just like that, bada bing, bada boom, it's gone, it's over, we're done. Fabulous Freebirds get the victory. And this is what I was talking about as far as how over the next couple of years, starting in 1990, that the tag team division, on how weak it was. Mm-hmm. You take Scott Steiner out of the mix right now, and you're really hurting. So, but yeah, they will receive their tag title match on TBS Saturday night. Next segment, Paulie Dangerously interviewed Cactus Jack. Cactus, now while he's being interviewed, Cactus sees that another box has been delivered. So he's like, I'm going to go give Abdullah a hug.
I already knew what was going to happen.
Oh, yeah. We've seen this enough times to know that Sting, as soon as he smacked that box for the signal, Sting came storming out and beat the holy crap out of
Sting
Cactus
had enough.
Jack.
At this point, Sting had enough of their antics.
Yeah, I think over the last couple of years, he's had enough of all the games, period. You want to fight? Let's fight. And they took this everywhere, and he slammed them everywhere. And like I said, this was going to be a very well done storyline between the two. I did like it, especially them wrestling each other as well. So, and then plus they showed that Ron Simmons' jersey was retired. The retirement ceremony the year prior, they had just gotten the footage at Florida State. And then Bobby Bowden had a special message for Ron Simmons leading up to Halloween Havoc for his match against Lex Luger. But tonight, Ron Simmons has somebody else in his way by the name of the Diamond Stud.
Yeah.
And I didn't like the fact that they pretty much squashed
him,
the Diamond Stud, just because Simmons needed the momentum. And
I get it, but yeah, I mean.
But this is another guy in your top 10 that you may just look like he's a jabroni.
Yeah, that's talent.
Huge talent. And a 3-point stance shoulder block it gets the pin on the Diamond Stud. You come on, man.
They didn't know what to do with him. That's why he leaves.
Yeah, unfortunately. But Ron Simmons gets the win and a huge momentum leading up to it. Now after the match, naturally, Paulie Dangerously interviewed Ron Simmons about his title match. Harley Race and Mr. Hughes come down at this point. And at this point, Ron Simmons is tired of dealing with the valets and everybody else. Wouldn't be the last time we saw him tonight.
Well, they pushed him a lot. There was multiple segments involving Ron Simmons. Multiple segments.
they built it up to almost make you think that he's going to win the title the
Right.
following
Yeah,
year. And the
absolutely.
fact that they didn't, I didn't understand
And
that.
he doesn't get it. He doesn't get into the following year.
Like, yeah, against Vader.
Yeah, and a house show, I
And
think. He won a house show, I think.
yeah, something like that. It wasn't on a pay-per-view where it
Oh,
should have been,
oh.
and it's a shame. So our next match is another squash match for the York Foundation. It's Heavy Metal Van Hammer versus Terrence Taylor.
Jesus Christ. And man, this guy, man, they say he looked like $1 million though, man. Van Hammer looked like, but he couldn't wrestle.
No, he couldn't.
Yeah.
If he could wrestle and the way he looked, definitely being pushed.
Yeah. And then he squashed Terry Taylor.
Yeah, who's getting pushed pretty much out the door.
Yeah, the computerized. Was the computerized man? Was that what it was? The computer?
Yeah, at this point, they think they're all the computerized men. Matter speaking
Yeah.
of the computer, before the bell rang, Taylor hit Van Hammer with the computer, and it didn't phase the big
It's
man.
like heat, yeah.
And this was a 67-minute,
See,
67-second match,
yeah,
I
yeah.
should say. Hammer hits a knee drop off the top rope on Taylor's back and gets the pin. This is how we're beating him. Okay, they've lost all faith in Terrence Taylor, and more than likely, eventually, he's going to be moved out of the York Foundation. But then again, the misfits that you have in the York Foundation, this shit was over before it started. Sorry
Once
to
you
say.
put Terry Taylor in it, it's over.
And I hate to rag him because he has the look and he can
Yeah,
wrestle,
he can. He's actually he just
but he's just never been given the right
very
gimmick.
gimmick, yeah.
It's unfortunate, but I mean, he backstage as far as being a mentor later on in his career, he was great with the youngsters. They always say, "What is that saying? Those who can't teach."
I guess,
So,
yeah.
unfortunately, with him, well, it was definitely that way with Bill DeMott. You know, again, another guy that was given really bad gimmicks, but could teach a younger generation, how to do it, including the wrestlers on the active roster in WCW. Terry Taylor the same way. So the next segment before the next match, Missy Hyatt was about to interview Lex Luger when Ron Simmons came knocking at the door. He said, "I'm tired of dealing with you guys. I want to talk to Luger."
Yeah,
Luger pushes him out the door like he's nothing.
I was laughing when that happened.
I
He just
couldn't
like
believe
completely
that.
dismissed him. He's just like, get out of here.
And then, bam,
Yeah.
tackles the door, gets in there. The WCW locker room coming to get him out of there. He's had it. He wants Luger. He wants him face to face. He's
Sign
not
the
waiting till the
contract.
press conference.
Sign the
Exactly. And then, of course, later on, I'll get to it, but Luger's arrogance making them wait. They had to go on with these ridiculous video packages because he just didn't want to grace us with his presence.
Yeah. No, Luger was a good heel though.
He was.
He got heat. It's a good heel.
Mm-hmm. And what helped was Harley Race as well. I don't know about Mr. Hughes, but Harley Race definitely.
Oh, yeah.
Next match on the card for the WCW television title, Stunning Steve Austin against the Z-Man. This was a pretty good match because, Z-Man's still up and coming. Steve Austin's, coming along real fast in WCW. Of course, he's got Lady Blossom at ringside. And naturally, with her being at ringside, some shenanigans is going to go on. She hands Steve Austin the brass knuckles. He misses the first time, but when Z-Man went for a back suplex, he hits him with it, gets the 1-2-3 pin.
Damn it.
Keeps the television title. And when the referee was looking to see what was going on, she already put that somewhere where the ref cannot look. So the television title is still safely around Steve Austin's waist. So now we go to, before the press conference, they showed a video on Ron Simmons talking to a bunch of kids at a youth center. This is where, I felt, this is where they have, they're wasting the time because Luger hasn't graced us with his presence yet. But this time around, they showed not only him talking to the young youths at a YMCA,
it's okay.
But also
you gotta try and all this other stuff. He was fine. He was good.
I like this message.
Yeah.
And then he took, 2 school buses full of kids to an event, which I thought was pretty cool as well.
It's like Lex Luger. This is like Lex Luger in '93.
Oh, only better.
Yeah, no, they were pushing him. This major focus.
But this was working because the fans were behind him. Remember, in 1993, he's coming off being a heel as a narcissist. All of a sudden, we're supposed to cheer for him, and we're like, wait a minute, why am I cheering for him? Yeah, it was force fed and fast. So he finally graces us with his presence, and then you got Dusty Rhodes that's down there sitting with Ron Simmons, and people like the announcers like, why is Dusty there? Then you got Eric Bischoff sitting out there, which was
Mhm.
weird. And of course, Ron Simmons signs the contract, Lex Luger signs the contract, and then he runs his mouth.
Yeah.
Oh, after this, you'll definitely be employed. I need a driver.
Oh, that was the wrong thing to say.
Oh, hell no. Man, Ron Simmons took off like lightning, man, over that table, and here we go.
Then
When
Luger
has a
ran.
press conference for a contract signing ever gone
No,
well?
yeah, it always goes bad. It always goes bad. Every time there's a contract signing. But Luger got the hell out of there, though.
Do you blame him after that
Yeah.
comment? You make that comment, I'm not
Yeah.
sticking around for the butt whipping I
Right.
deserve. So this is building up really good to Halloween Havoc, but again, unfortunately, Ron Simmons is not going to become champion. But at least he keeps the build up, the momentum built up through the following year. At least they didn't give up on him.
Right,
Like,
right, right.
oh, okay, you had your shot, you're done. So now on to the main event, which is the finals of the WCW Tag Team Tournament. The Enforcers, Arn Anderson and Larry Zbyszko, going up against Rick Steiner and Bill Kazmaier. And Kazmaier bandaged up, going into the match. From the attack earlier. Rick Steiner pretty much had it on his own. He wrestled it on his own.
Mhm.
But when you saw Kazmaier tag himself in, it's all now it's over. It's just a matter of time.
Mhm.
It's over. He tagged himself in. They're going to get the upper hand, and they're going to use the injury as the reason for it. And sure enough, he has Zbyszko up in a gorilla press slam, and Arn Anderson hits him in the injured ribs, and Zbyszko gets the pin on Kazmaier, and the Enforcers are the new WCW Tag Team Champions. Here's a good thing, though. They're not going to keep them for long. So next Clash of Champions, they're going to lose them. I'm just not going to say against who. So, and then, of course, afterwards, Tony Schiavone and Jim Ross interviewed the Enforcers. Larry Zbyszko, we're not here, we're not playing games, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, shut up, Larry. The only reason why they're doing this is because the Four Horsemen at this point are dead. Ric Flair's gone. So Arn Anderson needs something to do.
Pretty much.
But the Dangerous Alliance is on the horizon. And in the next clash, not only will they lose the tag titles, but we will have Ravishing Rick Rude.
Mm-hmm.
I've been counting down
think
for this.
And Steamboat shows up soon, right? Steamboat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Spoiler, he's in the tag team title match.
Oh, okay. There you go.
I just won't say who's partners. I can't give it all away. You got to watch the show.
Right, yeah.
But Ravishing Rick Rude is there, everybody. This is what we want. We're waiting for.
Yeah. So it's gonna pick up.
Yes, this one wasn't bad.
It was all right.
We
wasn't
bashed
that bad.
the last few clashes.
Yeah.
I thought this one was okay.
It was all right. It has moments. So I love the Ron Simmons Luger stuff.
Oh, that was awesome.
Yeah,
hands down.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, that's our review. Please like, comment, share, subscribe. We'll see you guys soon.
Take care.